Rise and Shine Rwanda, it's Wednesday the 29th of April.
Coming up on today's Rise and Shine Rwanda. We went to check out a job fair and spirits are up for job seekers.
The 7th edition of Copa Coca-Cola is around the corner.
And do you know how to take a good phone photo? We'll show you how. Good morning, it's just after 7 o'clock in the morning and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Regis Isheja.
And me, Makeda Mahario. Over the next hour, we'll be bringing you all the latest news, business, and sports headlines from here in Rwanda and around the world. And the Rise and Shine team are, of course, here with us in studio.
It's good to have you back.
Well, thank you very much. I'm happy to be back.
All right.
Fidelis, what do we have in the world of business?
Well, in business today, we can talk about how, cyber crimes are going to be stopped because they've been crazy, disrupting businesses in Rwanda. So we're going to deal with that in business.
Okay, all right. And in the world of sports, Arnold?
It's the Coca-Cola is here. It's the youthful tournament that has brought some of those big stars, the Kennedy Mwenis of this world and Lucas Radebe, the latest. And we talked to the team behind the Coca-Cola tournament.
It sounds spicy. Copa.
It's actually
It's
a fun thing.
For sure. All right. Well, looking forward
Fidelis
to
knows
it.
something about sports.
All that and more is still to come, but first, Rise and Shine story of the day.
JobNet is a special event, an opportunity for job seekers to meet potential employers and exchange information about career opportunities. Self-employment and entrepreneurship is at the core of the event this year, and trainings are also offered to the youth during information clinics. A unique opportunity. Take a look. Long lines of hopefuls with many dreams and aspirations. They are here to meet representatives of the public and private sectors and possibly get a career opportunity. Eventual employers are looking for talent and potential.
We are invited, so we are having some posts on the ground. We are looking for people to give jobs. So we interact with the job seekers, we see even their CV, and even we try to ask some questions and see how they respond, depending on what we want.
Employers looking to advance their brands are hopeful that among those who showed up, some have the requisite skills.
Mobikash Rwanda is a company which does mobile payment and provide the services that combines the mobile banking into the mobile money markets. So Mobikash holds the whole things in together, and we are here just to make sure that we are making some people who can make Mobikash being on the market of Rwanda.
JobNet is all about exchanging information, career opportunities, self-employment, and entrepreneurship tips. Trainings are also offered to job seekers during information clinics.
We've made like 2 people. One is in the field of IT. Mobikash is a mobile payment instrument, and we need some ITs. And another one is in a marketing place, which we automatically came to look for here, so people can help us to do the marketing. Another thing is that Mobikash needs some agents and ambassadors. We've seen some students which are finishing right now, so we can provide to them the internship and make us having the ambassadors on the markets. We really have made some people which can help us on the market of Rwanda.
I know the person I want, I know the qualifications, so it is just almost interacting with the people and see their qualifications and relating with what I want.
Truly a unique opportunity. Regis Isheja, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
Now, what has the experience been like for the job seekers? What are their dreams and aspirations? We had to ask them, so take a look.
bari kugusobanurira ibyo bakora bakadusobanurira niba hari imyanya ihari cyangwa se nimba hari iyo bateganya kuzagira bakagusaba CV ukayisiga.
Ndashaka kugira ngo banyigishe mbone trainings zishobora kumfasha uburyo nshobora kwihangira imirimo.
Seeking job is job itself because you have got to incur, your finance, transport, stationery fees, anything to find the other job. So it's job itself.
I like writing books. I wrote a book about job seekers' life, my life as a job seeker. That's why I say in my future life, I would like also to feel like a writer. These novel writers, she things fall apart by Chinua Achebe and other stuff. So that's why I say I really feel like in the future also to be called a writer.
Mu by'ukuri hano hari kampani nyinshi uragenda ukajya muri kampani runaka ijyanye n'ibyo wize cyangwa ibyo wifuza gukoramo bakagusobanurira even if ufite imyanya wajyamo wakoramo ukasiga CV yawe ugakomeza. So icyizere cyo naje hano ngifite ubwo Imana nibishaka ndakabona aho nsiga CV ngo nzategereza feedback bazampa.
Nishimye cyane nahasanze abantu kabisa bazi ubwenge barimo baratwigisha uburyo dushobora kwihangira imirimo, uburyo dushobora gukora business n'uburyo dushobora kubona n'akazi.
Nize ICT. So company yose ijyanye na ICT yose nabonamo nakoramo.
I completed in SFB, School of Financial Banking, that time in accounting. So I think I will be better off working with these auditing firms, anything concerning finance and anything concerning administration. I'll be equitable to work with them.
All right, guys. Now, have you had to go on the market and I don't know if you've ever attended a job fair before, but how has it been when you guys were job hunting?
For me, I've never been to a job fair, but I wish that I had known about any that were happening when I was looking for jobs in the past. But whenever I was looking for a job, I literally filled out like so many applications and just sent them to everywhere. I mean, I was not discriminating at all. I would just I always update my CV. So I would just update my CV, make sure that it looks something that stands out a bit. I would always try and make it look a little bit different from other, from the standard CV. And I would just send out my applications to every place that fit whatever I could do. So yeah, and I find that it works.
Yeah, I mean, lately there's a big number of people seeing jobs, especially people who are just out of school. I know that personally because just a while ago I was out of school too and hunting for a job. And it's crazy, competition is crazy right now. Everyone wants a job. And lately people don't, as much as they try to do what they studied in school, they're still flexible. They try to do a bit of everything. So people are open-minded like that. So you have to be ready to just take on anything that comes to you. And I feel like job fairs like these are excellent because people get that opportunity to apply for different jobs and just get experience and they learn from these people. So
now, Arnold,
it's a good thing.
You're very knowledgeable and I learn a lot from you, even if you're younger than me. I learn a lot from you all the time. That's not a pun. That's not a pun. So how does it work for you to be taken seriously, especially when you're talking about very serious stuff and people have to take your information seriously, your knowledge seriously? Like, how does it work?
I think one, you have to know your market and who you want to work with. When you come and look at majority of the jobs that are on offer in Rwanda, most of the jobs are not advertised. Yeah, meaning majority of the jobs are in the informal sector. Mm-hmm. Now, Fidelis talked about something about being open-minded. Just yesterday, Mefotra released a report and said the government can only employ, those are white-collar jobs, only 2% of job seekers in the current market, meaning that remaining 98% have to go through job fairs and such ventures. I think a job fair, for one, to maybe succeed in a job fair, one, make your research about which companies you would want to target. Two, be open, like what she said, be flexible to do anything, because I think we may be examples of, we didn't study journalism and the likes, but you end up being a journalist at the end of the day. So the ability to be flexible, is our current market yet flexible enough? I don't think so. That's why I would not concur with Fidelis. Majority of the current Rwandan group of job seekers are not flexible enough. And that maybe we have to look at different things that we can tackle in a whole different curriculum standard. But I think one of the major things you should have as a person looking for a job is being flexible and know which field you would like to work in best.
Now, Makeda, do you feel like it was a time when volunteering and starting as an intern and a non-paid job was the thing to do, to rise up the ranks, right? Do you think that should be something that's still done?
I think it is something that's still done. I definitely think that people are still hiring interns, and I think what more should be the case though is that people should try at least to be a little bit more open to doing internships and stuff, because I know once we get out of school or whenever we're back on the job market, we're kind of like, I just need that money, man.
Right,
I don't really care about, so it's hard to make that decision to say, yes, I'm just going to do this to try and grow. But at the same time, employers have the responsibility to, make sure that they're on a schedule and they're watching people and they're allowing people to grow in their jobs, because sometimes you'll find people have been in the same position for years and years and they haven't moved up. So that is something that takes away the motivation to start at a lower level. But, the people that at least the people that you interviewed in the video, they seemed really motivated. Someone even wrote a book about it. It was
I had to
awesome.
turn down a couple of them. They really all wanted to give their point of views and all that. And some of them were very similar, but you could tell, they were pumped up, they were excited about it, which is good. I think there should be more job fairs. I know there's already 3 or 4. There should be more.
My query about this whole job fair situation is, because I've seen this happen so many times, especially in our industry. Someone is picked up as an intern, and then even though they're good enough for the job, they are made to work as an intern, they're not paid. After a few months, they are dropped when they're supposed to be hired. Now, people going for these job fairs should know their rights. Labor Day is Friday, and that's going to be, I think, one of the agendas that Mifotra is going to push out. People should know their rights when they start working for companies. If you are an intern and you've been at a company for about 3 months, that company is supposed to start paying you after the 3rd month, because that's the maximum period that internship is allowed according to Rwandan law. So many of these job seekers are so desperate that they tend not to know their rights as people who are going to be employed, as labor workers, and that's something I think so many of the job seekers out there should look out for.
Was that something that you saw at the job fair? Was there anyone giving information like that to seekers?
What I saw was classes. There were 2 different classes where they were teaching them. It was like little clinics, basically. They were teaching them about being entrepreneurs and self-employed. But besides that, that was not there. I think that's something that's lacking a lot, and that they should address. But at the same time, not all job fairs are alike. Just to be,
It was just this one. Well, it looks like definitely people were getting.
They were so pumped up.
Another good thing about these job fairs is that you get to meet like-minded people. You get to meet other people in your field, other people who are also searching for employment. And because nowadays, especially in Rwanda, people are being pushed to kind of start their own businesses and things like that. I think that's a really good opportunity for networking as well.
Absolutely, and networking, to me, that's the key to anything. It's not just in Rwanda; it's everywhere.
For sure,
basically.
absolutely.
So a great idea.
Well, very good report there, Regis. You are watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwandair and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's get to today's business news. Fidelis Karangwa has the details.
Business stories making headlines today. About 100,000 bonds of the government's bond was traded at the Rwanda Stock Exchange, ending months of inactivity at the secondary market segment. A report showed that the bond that was issued last year traded at 99.9%, 9.9 Rwandan francs, and was the main highlight the browse as the counter at the main market was quiet. It was at the coupon rate of over 11% and a yielding rate of 12%. However, trading prices this week will have declined compared to 103 Rwandan francs prices that was recorded on Monday last week. A study has been launched by industrialists and the private sector body to look into the effects of high cost of energy and water bills on the manufacturing sector. The study, which is being jointly done by the Rwanda Manufacturers Association and Private Sector Federation in support by Trademark East Africa, is geared towards establishing the impact of high energy and water bills on the country's industrial sector. It is expected that results from the study will help reduce the complaints about fluctuations in power and water supply. And the government has launched a countrywide campaign to sensitize Rwandans on cyber crimes and cybersecurity. The campaign named Stay Safe Online is expected to curb the growing concerns on cybercrimes as Rwandans continue to embrace ICT in financial services, business transactions, and data management, among other services. Cyber attacks to sectors such as mobile money transfers have previously been disastrous to nations' economies, thus encouraging the need to curb this issue while it's still at an early stage. You're up to date today's business headlines. Post news coming up next in just a minute to Arnold Quizera.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for your sports news. Arnold Quizera. Starting with cycling, Team Rwanda Cycling is seeking to benefit from home advantage during the upcoming African Mountain Bike Continental Championships slated for May the 8th to the 10th in Musanze. Youngster Joseph Alleluia, who won the Kivu Road Race, the first competition of the Rwanda Cycling Cup earlier this month, replaces Bonaventure Uwezeimana, who is recovering at King Faisal Hospital from a head injury he attained a fortnight ago while in training. Upcoming youngster Samuel Mugisha is the only representative in the junior category, while Alleluia will be categorized in the under-23 grouping. The top countries will qualify for the Rio 2016 Olympics, and the hosts face a tough challenge from continental powerhouses South Africa and Namibia. Moving on to tennis, Germany Angelique Kerber won the year-opening clay court Grand Slam tournament, defeating former world number 1 Caroline Wozniacki in a 3-set thriller in Stuttgart. Boosted by her home crowd, the gritty German fell off in the opening set, losing in a tiebreaker 7-5, but she quickly gained her composure to win the following set 6-3 and the resultant decider 6-4 for her first ATP title of the season. And finally, the 7th edition of the annual Copa Coca-Cola tournament is set to kick off this weekend in Musanze district. I was at the press launch of the tournament that is turning out to be a springboard for budding stars in the country. Take a look. Building on last year's theme, Everything for Football, the 7th edition of the annual Copa Coca-Cola football tournament is set to kick off this Saturday in Musanze. Copa Coca-Cola has been in existence for over 20 years worldwide. This is the 7th initiative, and hopefully it will produce more global stars for Rwanda to take out there. The tournament has been notable internationally for grooming South African talents such as Mark Fish and Lucas Radebe that turned out for the Bafana Bafana, and our very own Yannick Mukunzi and Emery Baisenga. With the need for grassroots football an open secret, Julius Kayowoke, the marketing director for Bralira, was quick to point out why a brand like Coca-Cola should be associated with this development.
We wanted to do something at the grassroots level for the 3 reasons that we mentioned before. To encourage exercise and sports amongst our youth, and also we chose football because it's the great unifier. It's the most popular sport in the world, and we think that when people are playing sports, it develops many aspects of their character. Develops many aspects of character, teamwork, leadership, etc. So we started that in Rwanda in 2009. But with Coca-Cola has been going on since for over 20 years.
Over 416 teams are set to compete in this year's tournament that has given a springboard to the dreams of not only boys but even girls football in the country.
Bakora ikintu yaba yaramariye yaranzamuye iramenyekanisha mbasha kubona amakipe meza ari ku rwego rw'igihugu nkinamo kandi mbasha kumenyekana n'abandi bakinyi bakomeye hirya no hino mu gihugu.
Hako namaze kubona ko Copa Coca-Cola ikina, nanjye njya kujya muri Copa Coca-Cola, ngezeyo nzinira akarere ka Rubavu turukina na Kamonyi, tutsinda Kamonyi ibitego 4-1. Ibyo bitego 4 nijya bitsinze, Kamonyi ibona ndi umukinnyi mwiza, iranzamura injyana mu cyiciro cya mbere cy'abadamu, ngezeyo bahita bameza sorute yo kujya muri Amerika, ngeze muri Amerika tsinda ibitego 4 mu mikino 6 twakinye. Mu mikino 6 twakinye natsinzemo ibitego 4. Tubigarutse mu Rwanda numve bamamagaye mu kipe y'igihugu cyane ndishima. Copa Coca-Cola icyo nashishikariza n'abandi nuko batakitinya, ahubwo nuko bajya no ku kibuga bakareba n'abandi ibyo bakora nabo bakazabyiga bakabikora.
Despite the recent setbacks within Ferrafa, such developments could be seen as an olive branch for football in the country. Arnold Kwizera, Rise and Shine, Rwanda. Joining me in studio is Yvette Nagonzera, the brand manager of the sponsors of this tournament, Coca-Cola. Welcome to the show, Yvette.
Thank you.
Yvette, straight, Coca-Cola being choosing football to sponsor and to help improve the grassroots football in Rwanda.
Yeah.
Why football?
You see, Coca-Cola has time immemorial been involved in football. It was an official sponsor of the World Cup. It was involved in Olympics, so it has a tradition of being involved in football. And Coca-Cola, as the brand, is the one that sponsors Copa Coca-Cola tournament. But our other flavors that we have, like Sprite, we sponsor basketball. And in Rwanda, we also sponsor volleyball with Fanta Fiesta brand.
Yeah. The fruits of the Coca-Cola internationally have been very ripe for so many countries. Yes. It has gone on to sponsor, I'm a product of Coca-Cola itself, with the rugby system in Kampala. What impact do you expect for this tournament to have on the youth in the country?
Coca-Cola has been there for 7 years, and this is a platform where we target under 17 youth football enthusiasts. We provide that platform in the sense that every year from January they start the elimination process in football everywhere in the districts. So we provide a platform whereby football enthusiasts can grow their talent. They can compete with other teams around Rwanda. And we involve ourselves in the 16th final. So we provide uniforms, footballs, we provide sponsorship in cash and in kind. So basically we provide the resources, we provide the logistical support for them to grow their football talent. And we have seen that more than 10, more than even 20 football stars coming out of Coca-Cola.
Yeah, some of those we have seen in the video, and even the likes of Yannick Mukunzi, who scored over the weekend for Amavubi. Now, talking about something very important, sponsorship.
Yes.
How much is Coca-Cola putting into this tournament?
What we like to communicate usually is we sponsor the Rwanda School Sports Federation with 16 million, but we go over and above that because we invest in football merchandise materials for them, and we also reward them at the end of the tournament in cash prizes as well as trophies and medals. And then the best 2 players get to go to an international camp and for 2 weeks and train and come back and share with others what they've learned. So there's a lot of money that goes into it. I cannot give you a ballpark figure right now, but what we communicate is that we give 16 million to Rwanda School Sports Federation to organize logistically the tournament, but we give more than that.
So should we expect you guys, Coca-Cola, to do a follow-up? Do we have a follow-up between, because if this stops at the under 17 level, there's a gap before these players can get onto the clubs and the national teams. Is Coca-Cola working with FERAFA minus the schools federation to try and link these players to the clubs, to football as a career or sports as a career?
As I've said before, our definition is a platform, a football platform that provides training and exposure to grassroots football. That is development. So what we do is we target under 17 because talent detection starts way early, especially in the football world. So what we do is we provide them that platform and support when they are under 17. But also during these tournaments, talent scouts are usually there. Representatives from the federation, representatives from FERGWAFA, they're able to see, they're able to witness what kind of talent that is there, and they themselves pick the best players from the tournament and recruit them in national football teams in Rwanda. So what we do is we provide the platform and we develop grassroots football, and then we provide also the arena for talent scouts to come and see what kind of football talent is there, and they themselves scout them. Because we believe that our, especially for Coca-Cola, our brand is a young brand, as much as it has been there for over 126 years, but our target consumers, our target market is the youth. So even our platform itself, it's under 17. So what we do is we provide them with what they need, and then when they have graduated, other platforms come in. FERGWAFA is part of it. They have their scouts who come in and actually recruit.
Okay, so over the region, you've seen, it's me telling you, I'm a product of Coca-Cola. It's not football in particular, it's rugby.
Yeah.
Over the region, Coca-Cola is sponsoring all these other tournaments. Do we see it venturing out into other sports disciplines in the country very soon?
At the moment, we would like to focus building our brand, Coca-Cola, with football. But as I said before, Sprite also does basketball, and we have sponsored many other events. We do not limit ourselves to football only. In the sports arena, Sprite does basketball, Fiesta does volleyball, but we do sponsor platforms that contribute to youth development. I'm sure you've heard of Coke Studio, that's music. There's many others. Like last year, Coca-Cola sponsored the debate championship. So any platform that develops the youth, that gives an opportunity to shine, Coca-Cola is usually there.
So still coming back to sports and display,
yeah.
How many teams do we expect, and how many kids or the youth do we expect this venture to reach out to?
Okay, so Coca-Cola starts, usually starts in January, but aggressive involvement by our brand starts in the 16th finals. So in total, 416 teams all over Rwanda participate. But by the time we reach our 16th finals, we have 46 teams, 30 boys teams and 16 girls teams. In total, from the qualification round, like 800 young players are involved. So we get to touch at least even more than that, because during our matches, it's not only the players that benefit. We have the fans that are there. We have activation games on the side, whereby you purchase a Coca-Cola, you get to play and win prizes. So we can say over 20,000 young people get connected with our brand through Coca-Cola.
So to be clear, before we leave,
yes.
2 district winners go on to the finals
yes.
from every tournament.
Yes.
Okay, you heard it from the horse's mouth. Yvette, be in Musanze this weekend for the inauguration of the tournament, the 7th edition of the Coca-Cola Rwandan tournament. Makeda and Regis will be right back after this short break.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Let's take a look now at newsmaking headlines here in Rwanda and around the world.
Excellency President Paul Kagame called on governments to take responsibility in reducing the risks and costs of doing business in Africa. President Kagame was speaking at the Milken Institute Global Conference, which concluded yesterday in Los Angeles, California. The meeting brought together over 3,000 participants to advance private and public sector partnerships and discuss successful policies aimed at improving investments. He highlighted the importance of creating businesses that transform the lives of others as opposed to only focusing on returns.
The U.S. envoy to Kigali signed a $50 million grant agreement to facilitate the development of rural roads in the country. The project, initiated by the World Bank, is expected to help improve road infrastructure by rehabilitating and maintaining up to 350 kilometers of service roads in various districts such as Nyabihu, Nyagatare, Gatsibo, Nyanza, and Kayonza districts. Officials said that the project is aimed at reducing rural poverty by improving the roads connected to agriculture market centers, thus increasing household incomes for farmers.
South Sudan's application to join the East African community is set to be top of the agenda at the ongoing Council of Ministers meeting in Arusha, Tanzania. The meetings, which bring together the ministers responsible for EAC affairs of each partner state, is expected to discuss the status of negotiations regarding South Sudan's 2011 application to join the community as a sixth member. Other matters to be discussed include the EAC competition bill, which seeks to promote and safeguard fair competition practices in the region. The meetings are expected to conclude tomorrow.
And in international news, thousands of troops and police officers were deployed to the U.S. city of Baltimore following violent protests linked to the death of a black man fatally injured in police custody. Yesterday, hundreds of people set fires, looted stores, and confronted police across the city. Officials have been criticized for not responding more aggressively. A young African American by the name of Freddie Gray died last week after suffering injuries to his spinal cord and spent a week in a coma. Officials have also suspended 6 police officers who were involved in the case. His death is the latest in a string of high-profile cases where African American men have died after contact with the police. Lots more still to come. Lifestyle is up next. Plus, we take a look at what's hot right now in our daily debate section, Hot Topics. We'll be right back.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwanda and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Lifestyle now. Makeda, what do you have for us?
Well, I have some tips today actually for people who want to take some like better pictures with their phone, with their camera phones.
You let's get the goodies. I like that.
Take a look. If you're watching this, there's a good chance that you have a camera phone. If you don't, you probably have access to borrow one. And there's no doubt that many of you have Facebook, Twitter, or both. In this day and age, people are using these tools to their advantage, not just for fun, but for serious business. Many people and enterprises are starting to show us that with just a simple camera phone and a social media account, the possibilities are endless. And I want you to get a piece of that. Or at least just to know how to take a good picture. Take a look. Individuals, small businesses, and organizations alike are starting to use social media to sell themselves. And it's working. People are starting to make Instagram their careers. SMEs are starting to use cell phone photos to market their businesses across social media platforms. And organizations are utilizing the free services to recruit help. The possibilities are truly endless, but the quality of your photos makes all the difference. Yep, it all starts with how to take a good photo. I asked colleague and part-time photographer Armand to give us some tips on how to utilize our camera phones to take the best photos for any purpose.
Okay, so the first thing you need is a phone. It doesn't really matter what kind of phone you have, as long as it can take pictures. That's the essential, really. But obviously, the more expensive the phone is, the better quality image that you will eventually get, right? So, that said, let's go into framing, for example. So we'll start with framing. I'll use a glass of water here, and I'll show you how to frame, okay? So we're using a phone to demonstrate the rule of thirds, or in this case, let's call it framing. Right now, I'm centered, or I'm framing my image, which is the glass of water, in the center of my frame, right? Well, there, that's center. Okay, so if I want to take a picture of that, depending on what you want to shoot, that's your center frame. You can also decide to frame your subject or object onto the right-hand side of your frame, which would be on this side. Before you take a picture, always make sure that you are in focus. On some phones, touchscreen phones, all you have to do is just tap where you want the focus to be, and you can sort of tell that everything else in the background is out of focus, okay? Another technique that you can use while using photography, there are so many techniques, I'm just going to go through a couple. You can use a silhouette sort of technique where I don't see my foreground. You don't want to show their face, but you sort of want to show that they're there. You can shoot a silhouette image of them. Okay, that's done for video, but you can also do it for photo. So what I want to do here is I want to focus my camera on the background. You notice how my image has sort of gone darker in the foreground, but I can now see the clouds and everything. A couple of tips on how to take a good picture that's not shaky is you have to hold your camera or your phone in the best, most comfortable way for you, of course, but the best way is to really sort of tighten your hands into your body, and then keeping your one arm at the base of your phone, right, like so. So this arm can act as a tripod to steady your camera. Now remember that any movement with your hand, your finger, or anything can shake your camera, okay? And also, the further away you are from the object you're taking, the less shakiness will appear. But the closer you are to something and then you're shaking a little bit, it will actually cause a lot of shakiness. So the closer you are to an object, the more shakiness. The further away you are from an object, the less shakiness you get, okay? In general rule is if you're going to take a picture of someone, make sure that they are lit, or if you don't have a light nearby, just make sure that there's somewhere where there's enough light but coming from above. Okay, that's the best way of taking a picture of someone, is to make sure that the light they have is coming from above.
Now that you're equipped with the camera phone photography basics, go out there and be great. The sky is the limit. Makeda Mahario, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
Now, Makeda, in this day and age where everybody can be a photographer, you don't need those big lenses, cameras, how do we know that we're taking the right pictures?
Well, I mean, the thing about it is that you still need those big lenses if you're doing certain kind of photos.
Professional pictures.
Yeah, at the end of the day, camera phones, the camera on these phones are starting to get really good, especially the high-end phones. And when you know how to use them and you know the techniques and stuff like that, then yeah, you can take some really cool pictures. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be lower quality than those big ones. You can't make a billboard out of it. You can't, have really professional photos with them a lot of times. But the technology is getting so good that now there's even starting to be like books, what do you call these coffee table books and things like that, of actual only phone photos, right? And like I said in the video and before, businesses are starting to really take advantage of this. So you have not only businesses like, things that have to do with photography or things that have to do with phones. I mean, any kind of thing. So like, say you have a fashion company that you want to open. If you're really good with your camera, you don't need to really get any big equipment. All you have to do is find someone who is good at taking photos, or learn to take photos yourself and take those photos, put them up on your social media account, and you've already started a business. And it's the same with restaurants and different things like that. Now, a lot of times, sure, it's good to invest in a real photographer, but if you're just not there yet, if you just want to get started on your own, then yeah, take your phone out and take those photos. Yeah.
Now, I've seen you snap a picture or two, a selfie or a picture of the way you're dressed that day. Now, what did you learn in this process of actually talking to the photographer that you did not know?
Now, I have to say, I do actually do my due diligence when it comes to things, So I knew a lot of the things that he had told me, but I was really interested in to see, like, for instance, I didn't know how to do the silhouette photo. So I was really interested in to see how he did that, how you have to kind of focus on wherever the light is, and then whatever is in front of you becomes dark. Like, that was really cool. I didn't know that before. But when it comes to taking photos, I try to take tips here and there. And so I know a little bit about framing, like what he's doing there and different stuff like that. I kind of knew a bit about it, but I'm glad that he showed us this, because I see so many people who post photos on social media, and they could be better.
They're still blurry. That's me.
They're
guilty.
Blurry and
guilty.
The blurry photo.
I
can't.
I know. But how do you make sure that, I'm pretty sure everyone that's watching at home is asking themselves that question. How do you make sure it's not blurry?
Well, actually, he says that a bit. He talks about it a bit in the video. Basically, if you just hold your arms very still, and he gave us a really good tip where if you hold them by your side and then you keep one arm very still, it's as if it's a tripod. So that's kind of how to keep the camera a little bit more still. And also, if the further you are away from your subject, it's the less the shakiness will show, I suppose. But I think also it's mostly trying to focus the camera and different stuff like that. I mean, I think it just takes practice and, concentration. Make sure that you want to take a good photo.
Have you ever zoomed a picture and then it lost, like, the more you zoomed it, the more it looked really awful?
Yes, but that's because there's not enough pixels in it. That's just because it's a small photo.
Right.
That's why you need all of those big, long lenses that we see and all of that stuff. That's why those are good. But I think for beginners, a beginner's course, this is a pretty good job. Thank you so much for
Armand. A photographic course.
I wanted Armand to be able to come in studio and tell us, a little bit about starting a business using photos and different things like that. But he wasn't able to come today, but he has promised to come another day. So there will be a part 2. Don't worry about it.
We're waiting for you, Armand.
Definitely.
All right.
Well, don't go anywhere. Hot Topics is up next. Welcome back, and it's that Hot Topics time again. As always, the Rise and Shine team have been out and about gathering everything you need to know about what's going on abroad and, of course, at home, from the debates in your local cafe to, of course, whatever is trending on Twitter. We have it for you right here, right now. Now, let's get into the first hot topic. General Dallaire is in town.
He is.
Yeah, so actually you could tell us a bit more about that.
Right, he's in town. He was in Musanze. Yesterday we covered that, actually. Where he gave a lecture, and it was very timely because of what's happening in Burundi. He was here to talk about his experience in 1994, something that really shook him.
So for those who don't know exactly who General Romeo Dallaire is, he's actually was working with the UN when 1994 genocide against the Tutsi went down, and he actually had some intel that the genocide was coming. And he tried to warn the world, and pretty much no one listened, right? So he's written a book about it. Now he's been very vocal about it, and now he's here in Kigali.
And then there's a development now that he said something we all knew happened, but he said it in Musanze, saying that he told the UN that there was massacres of a certain level that were about to take place, and they told him there's no strategic interest in Rwanda, so just make sure that you can come back home. It's fine.
Similar to what's happening in Burundi. He also made a comment about Burundi.
He did.
He said what's taking place in Burundi is very similar to what happened here with the youth militia group in Burundi, Imbonerakure. Yeah, he compared it to the Interahamwe militia in his speech. And he's set to travel to Burundi.
Right, on Wednesday.
That will be interesting.
Today to assess the situation there if he goes. So hope his feedback will be taken relevant this time.
This is someone who was really shaken by what happened in 1994 to the point where some thought he had been damaged somehow by what happened. And hopefully he's doing better because it's a tough one to recover from.
Absolutely, and I really just hope that, because I've seen more and more advances of what's happening in Burundi, and honestly it looks terrifying. And I really would hate for the international community to just turn their backs once again, like they did 22 years ago.
It's not a petroleum-based economy. It's not a good thing.
Well, anyway, let's hope that that's not the case.
Right.
Now, the next hot topic is actually Burundi once again. Apparently now, telecoms in Burundi have stopped WhatsApp, Viber, and Instagram. So people in Burundi who are operating under the telecoms that are there cannot see those things, cannot communicate with people through those forms. What do you guys think about that? That to me is extremely disturbing. Well, that's what's reported as of right now.
I'll let Arnold speak his piece because I'm pretty sure he has something he wants to add to that. I'll just say one thing. When this happens, usually it means you're hiding something and you don't want it out there. Yesterday there's a journalist on Twitter who posted a tweet saying they've just refused me a visa to enter Burundi. Meaning, when they usually refuse visas to come in the country, that means they're trying to do something and they don't want the outside to know about it. It's not good.
I think they're trying to quell the situation, their style, if I would use the word style. When we saw with what happened in North with the Arab Spring a few years back,
Facebook was very really good.
Yeah, social media, Twitter was a really big part of what happened. WhatsApp was a big part of why the Arab Spring took place, because people were sending each other these messages, and that's how they communicated to form these groups. And I think the Burundian government is realizing that the protesters are communicating through these forms, because they shut down the radio stations, the private radio stations, and now
the internet was down yesterday as well.
Yeah, the internet was, but Twitter, because I could still talk to a few people on Twitter, and you could see the internet was still up, but they have now been very specific. They're stopping the likes of Instagram and WhatsApp and Viber.
And Viber, yeah.
And Viber,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, what can you say? What can you do? You just have to hope and pray that things get better.
Absolutely. The other thing is, some of the reports that have been coming from Burundi have been false, and that's not good, because then it creates more fear than there already is.
Right.
There's already enough fear as it is. So maybe the reports are coming. People have to make sure that the reports they're getting are accurate ones, or else it might degenerate.
Not sensationalist stuff.
Right.
Well, anyways, I mean, you guys have heard our points of view. Don't forget that we love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at Rise and Shine RW. We're always looking out for your thoughts. Like us on Facebook Rise and Shine RW. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and reports that we upload daily. Follow us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We're always posting behind the scenes photos. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, but we'd love to hear what your thoughts are, so let us know on social media. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Regis Isheja.
And me, Makeda Mahadio. We'll be back here same time, same place, so please do join us then. But for now, from the two of us and the rest of the Rise and Shine team, have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.